Yeah, it's your boy, Edwardo Jackson, CEO, founder, creator of the great Cinema Draft and DraftStream games, where daily fantasy sports meets the movies. And it's your favorite, friendly, Scottish playwright, Marty.
Oh, you got one as well? I've got one.
Hey. Exchange. Yes, what is good? Yeah.
Oh, say can you see? Oh, say can you see?
Yes. How's everything over there?
Oh, say can you see?
How's everything over there in
well, as you know, I like to put it back in its cage. The American flag goes back, and that's going for $100,000 or pounds. My piece of modern art. It's that's from the Family Dollar, climbing up a glass encased thing with an American flag in it, and I think that speaks for our times.
Oh, okay, I thought it was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. Either way, very cool. And yes, we are back in our cage. We are back in our cage, Marty.
We are back in our cage.
So our Andy Cohen-inspired Watch What Happens lifestyle drinking game tonight will be the word stage. Every time you hear one of us say this word, take a sip of what you're sipping, because tonight's pod will end up covering some of our favorite movies that deal with action taking in or around the boards, the great on stage. All right.
Oh, right. That was the memo.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Because I just thought you meant like, and it really got me thinking, where action takes place on stage as opposed to off stage. Because you immediately start thinking of all the like Hitchcock movies where everything happens off stage, don't you?
Oh, I mean, anything to deal with the theater world. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Well, that's good. I've got a couple.
Okay. Good. All right, so as I like to ask people who come on the podcast these days, since the world is still and even more so a viral dumpster fire, people have been getting sicker and sicker over here. States are shutting down. They should have stayed shut down, but I'm not getting on that soapbox right now. The world's a very bleak and shouty place, so I'm desperate for some good news, Marty. Tell me something good.
Oh, boy. Can I tell you something, right? I read the memo. You know how you send a memo before the show?
Yeah, the rundown, absolutely.
You do your preparation, which I like.
A little bit.
And I was, I'm not going to lie, I was really struggling. What's good? Well, okay. I got this jacket. I got myself a winter jacket, right?
Okay.
Which we'll put in the screen here, right? And it's the label is Just Cavalli, right? And I was telling you this, TK Maxx.
Explain to the viewers, please.
So, in the United States of America, you have a shopping chain called TJ Maxx.
Yes.
In Great Britain, we have a shopping chain that uses the exact same font, and it's called TK Maxx. And that's where I got that jacket. It said £465 on the ticket. I got it for 72. I did my Googling, and I think it's really worth about £250, but that still is a saving of around about £180, give or take. So it's good to know that you can still get a good bargain. It's made of, I'm going to put it, just 1 second again. It's made of down. Inside, it's got goose down feathers.
That looks really warm, Marty.
So there is a, and just, you know what I like about this is the Italians, right? See if I can read the, there's like a nice little thing written on it. And it says, yes, this garment is filled with real down feathers, washed and sterilized according to Italian law. I don't know what their law is. Their law might even be to piss on the feathers. We don't know. We just know it says it's the Italian law.
Giving new intentionality to the expression "down by law."
Exactly. And that's a good film. Do you know that's a good film? Have you seen Down by Law?
I have not. All I know is that it's a very popular expression in hip hop in the 80s and 90s. So and so is down by law. I'm glad you found yourself a great winter coat. For those of you who are wondering about my background today, I'm not sure if you guys probably see it. It says "Hold" with little Bitcoin shields today. Those of you who know me, I'm a very big fan of cryptocurrency, very big fan of Bitcoin. Bitcoin, I got into it in 2013. Today is passing an all-time high as far as market capitalization, $325 billion worth of market cap, over $17,000 per Bitcoin right now. It's not too late. Jump on the train if need be. And of course, later on. And for those of you who have been following the CD 3D project, you know that is cryptocurrency related. So very big day for crypto. And I'm celebrating with my background.
Yeah, I still need to read up on it because you got me started, and I'm going to invest. I just need to know where. I know I'm going to read the stuff that you sent. Maybe we'll have a little chat about that again sometime. I'm going to get in. I'm going to get some.
I sent you that little bit of Bitcoin. I think it went from like 13,000 to like 17,000. Hot bit of board. It's a rocket ship, baby.
Yeah, no. I'm gonna get some. What do they call it? Exposure.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
I'm gonna get some exposure.
Just get a lot. Just get some.
Excellent.
Right. So this is the show with no transitions, no segues. All right. So next segment is what we're watching, and I'm going to share my screen and let you know one of the first things I'm watching. And you can tell me if you've seen this at all. Probably haven't, but I know it's a popular show here. I'm not so sure about around the world, but first thing I want to share that I'm watching is Old Reliable, aka Grey's Anatomy. Are you familiar, Marty?
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
I've seen an episode.
Okay, you've seen an episode. All right, fair enough.
In my life, I'm aware that it exists.
There you go. Well, you know what? Actually, you're not a guy who watches that much TV, so that I would consider to be a triumph. But Grey's Anatomy came back for its 17th season premiere. Yes, I said that correctly. Season 17. The thing is an engine unto itself. It's not stopping. It's just getting better. It came with a very interesting, poignant episode that accurately conveyed the fear, the frustration, and the drama of a hospital being racked by COVID-19. It's set in Seattle, fictional Seattle Grace Hospital, located somewhere around like Seattle Center. And it's just, they really did. And these were all like, God, look at 5,800 photos on this thing. I'll never find a current photo. Anyways, they did a really good job, I thought, of getting us into the new season, acknowledging the realities of COVID-19 everywhere. It is a hospital show, and there are other hospital shows. Another one I watched is called The Good Doctor. I thought the way they treated the transition to COVID-19 wasn't nearly as successful, and honestly, I think they felt it too. I was watching the third episode last night, and they basically had their star Freddie Highmore, a Brit, came on before the show, and it said, "You know what? We're just gonna pretend like this doesn't exist." And this is a vision of how we see a vision of our future. Please enjoy. They were just tired of dealing with the masks and the COVID mania and stuff. And you know what? The story was better. So some shows can handle it, some can't. Grey's is just, they are so good at what they do, they can handle it. And this ending really threw out some catnip for those of us who have been Grey's stalwarts. They brought back McDreamy, spoiler alert. They brought back McDreamy, Patrick Dempsey, whom they killed off because he was a bit of a messy bitch somewhere around season 10. And it was emotional. It was dramatic. It led, trending Twitter on a Thursday night. And from what we can what we've seen, it seems like they're going to bring back a lot of the old regulars. So it's going to be a great season for Grey's Anatomy. That was one of the things I am watching. And the other thing I'm watching, I'm sure you might have some thoughts on this, Marty, is of course The Crown. So I'm gonna give you a moment to go off, because I'm sure, as like most British subjects, royal subjects, you are not a fan of The Crown.
Well, as you know, I don't have a television, and I watch a lot of films, right?
Sure.
But so here's look. There will always be room to commission historical period costume dramas where the cast will be predominantly middle class. For your American listeners, middle class in Britain is not the same as middle class in America, okay? In the United States of America, where they've been trying to erase the working class for ages, what they've done is they sort of lowered the boundary for middle class, where really a lot of people who are a working class in America would be defined as middle class, the lower sort of middle class, right? Yeah. So, but in Britain, the middle class is something else. You're more likely to be privately educated, have an RP accent, read the Daily Mail, the Telegraph, the Times, the whatever, the Guardian. You might have some liberal tendencies, but you'll, by and large, be a bit of an arse, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, okay? Those people run the arts. They've always run the arts. So they commission for themselves, yeah, because it's what they know, it's what they understand. So there will always be room for something that goes back 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, and shows the political classes, the middle classes, and the upper classes doing their thing, yeah? Now, obviously, as a revolutionary, I want most of these people erased. So my opinions on it would always be, you know, based on the fact that these are people that I loathe with a passion. So a story like this, it really holds very little interest for me unless they make a film out of it and it's got some really good people in it. So, like, you know, when you were talking about Mrs. Thatcher, there was
off camera, yes.
Meryl Streep played her in a movie.
Iron Lady, yeah, great film.
Iron Lady, and I think she won the Oscar.
She did.
And then after, I think Helen Mirren won an Oscar for playing the Queen. And I thought both of those films are actually pretty good. So I tend to get on board when it's a film, but not when it's television and you're wanting more than an hour or two of my life.
But all right, so you said you liked the Queen, the one that Helen Mirren won for, right?
Yeah.
Well, fancy that. Turns out the same guy who did the Queen is executive producer and showrunner for The Crown. And he writes every episode. Peter Morgan. He is, and that's why the show is such a phenomenon, because it is excellent. It is, outside of maybe House of Cards, this is probably the most expensive, the flashiest production that Netflix tends to put on. The Crown, yeah, Peter Morgan does The Crown. I get a bit of an avowed loyalist, a royalist, whatever, which is fine. For Americans, obviously, it's going to hold more fascination to us than you guys, because you guys live with that bullshit. But because he is so good at writing stuff about, royalty, I think he also did Frost Nixon, didn't he? Did he do Frost Nixon?
Yeah, he's done some decent stuff. No two ways. He did The Last King of Scotland.
Yeah, he did The Special Way Ship. Like,
Forrest Whitaker got his Oscar for that.
Yeah, the other boy. He's a really good writer and stuff, and so he does just about every episode of The Crown, and it shows. I'm not gonna try to over convince you to watch The Crown because you have to live with that nonsense, but I think it's really, it's a really good job as far as bringing you inside the drama. Like, I didn't get it as an American. I always thought The Crown is silly. I still think The Crown is kind of silly. Monarchs, all that stuff.
It is silly. It's flipping stupid.
It's silly. It's silly. But
it's even worse than it's harmful.
No, I don't doubt that. They're basically what they call them in the first season, the freeloaders off the state. They're basically our version of Secretary of State, but with like land and money, and it's ridiculous. But what it is good as a writer, and I know you're an accomplished playwright and lover of the arts. It's excellent, like, screenwriting, and they really do mind the drama inside that family, because there is a lot of drama to be had. Their lives honestly have very little average working day person import per se, but as far as a closed world or environment of drama, it's very good. And one thing I'm all about in a lot of stuff that I watch is take me to a world I know nothing about. Take me into a new world, drop me in there, give me tons of jargon, give me tons of customs I'm not used to. Let me learn something, while I'm being entertained. And I really do, enjoy watching The Crown for that. And this season it's just really its best one. Josh O'Connor is Prince Charles. Now, so they did a great job in season 3 of setting up Charles to be, shockingly, a bit of a sympathetic figure, because all I knew about Prince Charles is that this is the dickhead who cheated on Diana and always seemed like he's unhappy, and he's just a bit of as you guys would say, a ponce. And
no, you wouldn't say ponce. Ponce is becoming something else, actually.
Oh, okay. What would I call?
Well, yeah. Ponce is now getting more used. It always was, but ponce is getting more directed towards people that fiddle with children.
Oh, no. That would be Andrew.
Oh, wait a minute. That's nonce. Sorry, that's nonce. I get my nonces and my ponces mixed up. Sorry.
No. Well, no, they kind of do allude a little bit to, they introduced Prince Andrew in, I think, episode 4. And it's funny because it's like, you can see a little bit of the perviness. They kind of give him just a little bit of the perviness as a youngster to know that he's going to be an issue. He's going to be a problem later on. But yes, when Prince Andrew gets introduced this season, and of course Diana sucks out all the oxygen in the room. Oh, and Gillian, we'll get back to Gillian Anderson in a second. Diana, Emma Corrin's Diana is just pitch perfect. She gets the shyness and then the head down, and always in kind of the little smirking, whatever. But you can see also that she's not like just some little, just some young girl who doesn't know anything. She can tell that she's got a little bit of game herself. Like she wants to meet, Charles. She wants to get into with Charles as much as Charles wants to cover for his relation with Camilla. It's wild. All I'm saying is that y'all need to watch this, if for nothing else. Gillian Anderson, who now is probably more Brit than American. She's so fucking good as Margaret Thatcher. And not just because they humanized her some, which I didn't think was possible, but because her and Margaret Thatcher, I mean, the way she nails like her speech and cadences, it's creepy. It was creeping me out. I mean, I was watching some old YouTubes of Margaret Thatcher, and then I go watch an episode of The Crown, and it would just freak me out how good she is, Margaret Thatcher. And as much as and it does really kind of give a stinging rebuke to conservatism, especially in episode 5, where this infamous painter decorator breaks into Buckingham Palace and gives himself an audience with the Queen, and basically just kind of, just basically unloads on how, and I'm not sure if that part of the conversation actually happened, but it basically unloads on how unfair, Britain's become, how there's, lack of social safety nets and basically, civility and people caring about each other. And I thought that was an awesome stinging rebuke of conservatism, which, honestly made the season worth watching. So The Crown, season 4, I'm loving it. Definitely check it out if you are so inclined. And Olivia Colman is the Queen. Just so, who is Billy Joel? She's just so perfectly aristocratic and closed off. And Olivia Colman, man, give her another Emmy. She's perfect. The Crown. That's what I'm watching, Marty. What are you?
Nice. Funnily enough, do you know what I watched yesterday or the day before? Things are a bit groggy at the minute, but I watched Us, Jordan Peele.
Oh, do tell. What do you think of that?
Right. So I'm going to watch it again fairly close. Like I watched it maybe a day and a half ago. My days are blurry because my sleep pattern's blurry because obviously I'm taking all these like painkillers. So, but it's within the last 48 hours that I watched it, and I watched some theories about it after I'd seen it. I deliberately knew nothing beyond like, the basic reviews going in, and I meant to watch it sooner, but I just didn't get around to it.
Closely, because it doesn't make any sense if you watch it too closely.
Well, I don't know. I really like it, and I like. You see, I watched it back to back with a film which we'll come to later called Burning. So don't sort of go into Burning, but
okay.
Because I watched the two of these films that you have to watch more than once, that are fairly dense. You know what I mean? Like you have to sort of do a bit of like reading and read films and know that you're not going to get everything first time round. So the two films have kind of blurred into one experience because there's things about class in both, yeah? And I always like the way that people make films where class is a theme and they still have to make the film in such a way that people are going to want to go and see it who are outside of that demographic. You get what I mean?
Right.
So like, how do you get white, middle and upper middle class people to go and see, a horror film or, horror thriller that's essentially like, a black film about black issues, in my opinion, right? Mm-hmm. Amongst other things. And he does it really, really well. And I preferred this to Get Out because I know that, because I'm going to have to watch this again. I'm going to have to pay more attention. And this is almost like a film you would expect to either be your first film or your third or fourth or fifth, where there's less pressure. To make this your second film's really pretty cool.
So you thought you had chances here, huh?
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Because I remember watching like the Joe Budden, I think it was the Joe Budden podcast, and they were talking about this film, and they didn't really get it.
Right.
And I knew, but I'd read a couple of things before that it's not as in your face as a genre piece. You really do need to figure some stuff out. I love films that make you work. I really do. I love films that are about class, but are about other things on top of that. Yeah. Mm. And that they're not hammering your head with like, a lot of people make films that are kind of like overtly liberal and they're made by rich people about poor people things, yeah? And it's just, I got no time for those films really because they're just really oversimplified and they reduce the experience, yeah?
Mm.
Whereas, and those are films made from the outside looking in. But when you make a film from the inside, just looking, not necessarily looking out, just looking, that's when you get other things. It's the difference between like a British director called Shane Meadows, who makes films about working class stuff, and then you have another filmmaker, oh, his name escapes me. I always forget him for some reason, even though he directed Kes and various other things, and I use his name. Anyway, he's always coming from the sort of middle-class view, looking in at poverty and isn't poverty terrible, right? And all the struggles. Whereas Shane Meadows, he makes genre films. He makes slasher films, but it's a working-class milieu. So he gets all the stuff in without having to sort of slap you in the face with sort of, Marxist theory or whatever. And I think Jordan Peele's very similar in that, these are films, the very fact that it's a horror film and the characters are black, it's a big deal, yeah?
Yeah.
Even the very fact that they go on a holiday home. They got a holiday home.
Oh, yeah.
These are not poor people from the hood, the ghetto, yeah? So he's done something else as well, yeah? So, yeah, man, I'm going to have to watch it again. I love it. I love things like the Jaws T-shirt. People are wearing Black Flag T-shirts, you know.
Yeah.
There's just an awful lot of Easter eggs, yeah? There's a lot of Easter eggs.
Well, now for that, I would probably say it's probably worth a second viewing. I'm not a big horror fan, so I only saw it the one time in the theater, but I thought it was great. I still prefer Get Out myself, but I thought it was great. I saw largely what he was trying to do, and the whole like tether thing. I mean, I actually, I have a guest on the podcast a couple times. KSK, who I call her like my pop cultural tether, because it's wild having this idea that there might be another person out there that kind of mirrors you, whatever. It's like a mirror opposite of you, whatever. That has basically it's almost like you're split at birth, whatever. That whole kind of idea is fairly wild. That they're just kind of lurking on the other side. It's almost like it's almost like thinking about like having like an alter ego that exists. Having a separate personality, and what would happen if they actually gave them light. Ooh, yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. So yeah, the guy's name I was thinking of was Ken Loach. Ken Loach is a really famous.
Oh yeah, we covered him when we did the top 5 Scottish films, right? Yeah,
no, and Ken Loach is really, really good. But he's always coming at it from a sociological point of view. It's never not there. Whereas I like a film like if you ever want to see a film, Dead Man Walking is a very good film.
This is England.
Pardon?
That's the Susan Sarandon one with Sean Penn. Was that?
No. Dead Man's Shoes. Sorry, Dead Man's Shoes. Yeah, it's a slasher film. It's a slasher film kind of thing with a body count. It's a revenge film. So it's got all the genre.
I think I'm in.
It sticks to, you'll love it. It sticks to all the genre elements, but all the characters are working class. So you go inside working class houses, you listen to working class people talk, and they drive cars, and they listen to music, and they have a world experience, that is rich. Whereas a lot of the time when we're dealing with sort of like, the working class milieu, it's reduced, to sort of like, oh, you wouldn't want to live here, or oh my God, isn't this, oh, thank Christ, we don't have to live in a council estate and all that nonsense, man.
Well, tell me about the second film. You said you saw Burning as well.
Burning, yeah. So Burning is just this amazing Korean film, and been meaning to watch it for a while, and I got hold of it. And
definitely tell me about it, because I've got thoughts on Burning too. And
have you seen it? Have you seen it?
I have seen it. And I definitely watched it the wrong way because I did not get nearly enough out of it as everyone else did. So please go ahead, tell me what you like about Burning and everything, and I'll tell you what.
Again, Burning is a film. So like, whilst I am not old enough to be of that era, the films of the late 60s and the 70s are a huge kind of thing for me, where where narrative is not played out in this most obvious 3-act Sid Field, what you're going to get exactly when you get it kind of thing, right? Mm-hmm. So I like the movies of the 70s, and they're a good breeding ground, for having a sensibility where you can watch films like Burning and go, right, okay, I don't know what to expect. I don't know if I'm going to get all the you know, everything's going to be dished out to me in the way that you would expect a normal pies and peas, you know, American genre film or a flick, if you will. And so I knew that this wasn't going to be that. And so you're kind of like, right, where's the story? And the story, like, it's pretty, you know, and it seems quite a simple story. You know, there's a guy and he kind of, you know, fancies this girl and they kind of get together. And then she tells him that she's leaving to go traveling, I believe, somewhere in Africa. She's going to find herself, and he's going to look after and feed the cat. And he does, but he never sees the cat. You notice that? He never sees the cat.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Anyway, he goes to meet her at the airport when she gets back, and she's there with another guy who she met whilst traveling. And this guy is an upper middle class guy. He is from the upper classes. He's got money, okay? And so our kind of hero, he's a little bit feeling like, well, he's been sidelined, hasn't he? He's been friend zoned. But he still kind of hangs around with him from time to time. And she goes missing. She just doesn't show up one day. And he thinks that maybe, you know, this other guy's done it. You know what I mean? This other guy, he's got a thing where he likes to burn greenhouses. Once every couple of months, he finds a greenhouse that nobody does anything with, and he sets it on fire. That's what he says.
Right.
The greenhouse might not be a literal thing.
And that's what I totally missed.
Pardon?
And that's what I totally missed. I totally missed that.
Right,
because I was watching this on the Stairmaster in like 3 separate chunks, so it's not the ideal way to watch this film. It's just not.
No, it's not. There's a lot of metaphors and allegories, and there's a lot of things that you maybe take on face value that aren't actually.
That's beautiful.
Like the burning aspect of it. I've read that the greenhouse it's not a real greenhouse, yeah. So because in the film, the character goes running around the neighborhood and tries to find a greenhouse he thinks might be getting set on fire, or you know, because the guy says he's going to set one on fire. The sort of rival man says that he's going to set a greenhouse on fire in the neighborhood where the hero is from. So the hero kind of goes jogging every morning, trying to find these like local neighboring greenhouses to see if any of them been set on fire, and they haven't. And I later read earlier today that the greenhouse, it's not a greenhouse, it's something else. He means something else when he says that he looks for greenhouses that no one's doing anything.
Let's just spoil this. Let's just do a quick, you know, cultural cul-de-sac into this film, because part of the reason I didn't get all of this is that, well, I just didn't get all of this. And for those of you who haven't seen Burning, I guess go watch it. We're about to spoil the shit out of it now, so you've been warned. But yeah, so yeah, apparently the burning greenhouse things means he's going to do a murder, so he's going to murder somebody.
Yeah, it's a person.
And I remember once I got done with the film and I'm on the Stairmaster, back when I could Stairmaster at the freaking YMCA, I felt so unfulfilled. I'm like, this is what everyone's talking about. I go to a message board, actually where I met my fellow Bransky slackers. I go to a message board on Facebook, and I'm like, so can someone explain to me, like I'm 5, why everyone thinks Burning is great? I didn't cast aspersions on. I honestly wanted feedback, and then people had to lay out for me this entire film that I had missed, mostly because I'd been just watching this thing on the Stairmaster. I wasn't paying. I was trapped. I wasn't paying attention, but on a small screen, and you're sweating, and you're, and it's just different. So you need to see this thing sitting down, fully focused, phone down or off or whatever, and to try to catch all this stuff, because I missed all of that, subtext. I just thought it was a very kind of slow, drawn out, beautifully shot film with a fairly unlikable, protagonist to an extent. And I just didn't understand like why this guy was just, was just like this way. It was very disconcerting. I didn't understand why everyone loved it. And I had to have people explain to me. I don't think I feel like a dummy per se, but I feel like I could have watched it in a more intelligent manner.
No, I agree. And I would say, honestly, I recommend the film in days like these where films are so cookie cutter, right? And I long for the days of films that challenge you. I want to be challenged. Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, that's why I loved Us, and I loved it more than I loved Get Out, because, you know, Get Out's one of those where there's going to be some twists and there's going to be some turns and there's going to be some jumps, but they're going to exist within the length of the film. And by the time you get to the end of the film, you know where you are. And yeah, you can go back and go, oh yeah, I missed that little bit. You know what I mean? You can go back.
It's worth rewatching. I've watched.
Yeah, no, I know, but that's not the point I'm making. That's not the point. The point I'm making is the difference between watching a film that you can go back and go, oh yeah, I missed that, but it's nothing existential. It's not to do with you as a person. You understand? Where you missed something partly because of who you are, yeah? Not because you missed that bit where the character said something, you know, that we can all get. We can all go back. It's like The Usual Suspects, yeah? You can go back on The Usual Suspects and you'll get everything you're meant to get. But when you get to films like, say, Us and Burning, well, you need to go back. You, the person, has to go back. You, the person, has to go back and think about things. And God Almighty, it's the one thing we do the least of these days is we just don't think deeply enough, yeah? To the point, you know, and a film that demands that you think deeply and question things that you may or may not believe about how you watch a film, because there's a whole bunch of rules that we're all aware of when it comes to cinema, yeah? You know, like I was watching actually a commentary about a little bit of Us, where there's a character who is injured but not killed, or we think the character is dead, but that character is left behind so that when we go back a few minutes later, we can get a jump. Do you know what I mean? Like, so literally, because if the character was dead, the character can't, like, not be dead and then try and, like, jump or grab somebody, and then we, the audience, get a fright. So that when we're watching horror films and characters turn out not to be dead, we don't get pissed off. We just realize it's a fucking short. It's just a thing. It's just a thing that a lot of people have to do in horror films, yeah? Well, we know all that. So it's great to have to go and do some other things, yeah? To do some other things that, you know, it's kind of like, you know, I'm a big fan of Michelangelo Antonioni, and Jesus Christ, I watch those films over and over and over again, and I get more and more and more from them, because if you just leave them on first viewing, you'll get nothing. But the more I change, the more I can receive what the great artist meant for me to receive, and that's a rare thing these days. Hence another reason why I'm picky with my TV and picky with my films.
Amen. And on that note, we're going to non-segue into the next segment, which is the topic of this podcast: top 5 theater movies. Now, the rules are like such. One of us names a movie that takes place or deals with in the world of the theater. We alternate picks. When someone picks a movie, that movie is out of play. As always, guests go first while I start to construct my list, because I did not do my own homework.
I didn't do mine either. I misread the memo.
But this should be.
I'm going to go with the first one. Well, obviously, I'm going to go with one that you might pick, so I'm going to pick it first, right?
Oh,
Game
boy.
theory.
Right.
And that is Birdman.
Oh, I did not get that far, but that's an excellent pick. And actually, let me start sharing screens here.
And of course, Birdman, a lot of people have got a problem with Birdman, and I get it, because of the way that it was shot and this and that. But look, it's amazing.
For Best Picture, didn't it?
Yeah, but still, people still had issues. I love the acting. It's got some of my favorite actors in it, okay?
Okay.
So, you know, I'm always, who we got? We've got Michael Keaton, Edward Norton, who I'm a big fan of. Naomi Watts is in it. We've got one of my favorite Amy's. There's a lot of Amy's that I like, and I get their. Is it Amy Ryan who's in it? Who plays?
Is that Amy? Yeah, that is Amy Ryan. I love Amy Ryan.
Yeah, I love Amy Ryan. We've also got, who else is in it? There's a few other actors that are in it. Let me see. Yeah, let's just read. I'll go back that one to the credits.
Yeah, Emma Stone.
Yeah, Naomi Watts, Emma Stone, Edward Norton, Michael Keaton. So some really good actors in there. And I just really liked the fact that they were doing an adaptation of a Raymond Carver story. Yeah, I'm a big Raymond Carver fan. He is one of the few writers that I really thought, again, wrote about ordinary working class life, just ordinary stuff. And And I loved the fact that they were basing it on some of his work. And I just thought the acting was amazing. And, you know, I thought it was a great movie. I really did. I saw it at the cinema and it just blew me away.
All right.
And I love New York. I love New York. You know, when he's walking the streets of the theater district, yeah? You get from the stage door to the front door and all that. I love all that stuff, man. Yeah, that shot there. I love that.
No, that's a good pick. My first pick, and this one is super obvious, I'm definitely taking it off the board, is Shakespeare in Love. People dunk on this movie. I don't know why. It's perfectly delightful. I enjoy it every time I watch it. I can see you silent, Marty. I can see you like judging me. I don't care. I enjoy it.
No. I mean, look, it is what it is. It's fine. You know, I love. Oh, who's the guy? There's a writer who's, because there's other writers in the thing. It's the guy that wrote. Is it The White Devil or something like that? There's a writer, playwright who's in it, and he writes in real life. He wrote like really, really violent plays, and he's like the little Cockney boy. He's the little Cockney boy who gets a couple of lines in the movie, and he's I like the violent bits or something like that. I can't see the guy. Do it, The White Devil. Is it The White Devil's play? I'm gonna have to Google it. But you know, I've got no problem with that. Is it The White Devils?
Well, White Devil. I enjoy.
John Webster. That's right.
John Webster.
Yeah. So there's a little. Next time you watch it, pay attention for the little kid who really likes the violence that is in the plays, and he is the young kid playing the playwright John Webster, who wrote violent plays.
Yeah. They made a big deal of him too, looking all.
Yes, exactly. I like John Webster. Big fan. Anyway, yeah. So that's a good one.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I every time I watch that movie, I have fun, and it's definitely peak Gwyneth Paltrow. Like, I don't know if she gets much better. Well, I mean, it's kind of sad to say, oh, someone peaked when she was like 25, 26, whatever. But she was really good in this. I enjoyed it, and it was a lot of fun. I enjoy Shakespeare in Love. Sue me.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. So I'm going to come in now with one that I'm not sure you're going to get, but it's a great movie. It's called The Dresser.
Oh, okay. Do tell.
The Dresser is Tom Courtenay and Albert Finney. And Albert Finney plays an actor who is the sort of the leading man of the theatre company.
Okay.
And he is he's getting on in years, and he is they're putting on King Lear, and his faithful servant stroke, like it's one of them. It's almost like a man, and it's a master and servant type dynamic, is his dresser, played by Tom Courtenay, one of the greatest British actors of all time, fantastic actor. He was Billy Liar in Billy Liar, a great British film. So Tom Courtenay plays his faithful servant, really, who's been dressing him as he gets ready for the stage. Have a little drink. All these years. And he's the only one that really knows him. And obviously, like all master-servant relationships, the master is abusive to the servant. We think that he kind of loves him too. It's a really good film. It should have won Oscars. It might have got some nominations for Oscars kicking around somewhere, but like for just great acting. It's one of the best King Lears that you'll ever see.
Oh,
King Lear, yeah, 100%, absolutely. Finney's King Lear is the best King Lear I've seen, and I've seen a few.
Okay.
And it's a very sad film that deals with aging. So, for example, in scenes where the actor has to pick up a woman. Yeah, the king has to pick up a woman, King Lear, right?
Right.
But as he gets older, his back is getting sorer. So with each year that he's going to be playing the part of King Lear, he needs a lighter Cordelia, or a light. The women that play the daughters, they need to be lighter. Yeah, because he literally just can't lift them anymore. It's the little things like that, and it's about a man hanging on to his talent, really, whilst trying not to die. I guess is time and tide wait for no man or woman.
Okay,
but it's a great film. Anyway, that's me.
The Dresser. All right, that's a good film. My next one's going to be Black Swan. LA, theater adjacent, same thing. And that one, I mean, it's dark, it's kind of twisty. It's good now. Natalie Portman, I think she might have got nominated for this one.
She got an Oscar.
Oh, she won it. Oh, wow. Okay, my bad. Yeah, so she won an Oscar for this role, and where she plays, part of like a competing ballerina duo. Like they're, a star and an understudy, and the psychological games they're playing with each other, competing for the top spot. And it's very dark and weird, and Darren Aronofsky, I believe, is the director behind this. And
he is, yeah. It's a good film. It's a pretty good film.
Yeah. I mean, look at the eyes, and just really weird shit. Like it starts in the world as we know it, but he definitely plays with the camera and stuff to make it seem like, is she seeing things? Are we seeing things? It's not a straight, totally realistic.
But he doesn't do that. Aronofsky doesn't really do realism, and nor should he. You know what I mean? He's always twisted.
Fair enough.
Blurring that line, which I think is a good thing. It's not my favorite performance of Natalie Portman's, but it's still really good. It's not my favorite Darren Aronofsky film, by the way. I think Requiem for a Dream.
And I'm still too scared to watch that. I know I need to watch, but I'm still too scared because I hear it's just like gross and super.
Do you know what it is? Can I tell you? Right. Okay, so look, can I tell you how much I love that movie? I love it that much that what I'm using is for a mouse mat is this. Look, can you see it?
Yeah. Shit. Now
by coincidence, right?
Now I'm
so look. Here's the thing. Look, if you understand the work of Hubert Selby Jr., you will realize that there is redemption and there is something. A lot of people talk about this thing where when you get like extreme art that maybe transgresses or takes you to a certain place, they talk about how there's like a redemptive quality. There can be a redemptive quality. Okay. The only artist that I would, I'm going to give you two that I would go, yeah, definitely when it comes to them is Hubert Selby Jr. and Ingmar Bergman, okay? I can watch the heaviest Ingmar Bergman film about the heaviest shit and still feel some kind of satisfaction and redemptive quality that I've been through at the end, right, okay? The Requiem for a Dream is that film, okay? The one thing to remember about that film, if you follow it with the music, what I mean by that is he very specifically punctuates certain scenes, or he doesn't even punctuate them. He kind of he lets this music flow into it. That's beautiful music by the Brodsky Quartet. But there is a theme for the dream, yeah? And the dream, now the movie is Song for the Death of a Dream, okay? Now there is something beautiful in singing that song for the death of a dream. So that even as you get to the bloodiest, most horrific stuff, that music still plays in parts. And it makes you, there's something beautiful about these people who are holding out for a dream that is almost about to die. You get what I mean? There's something beautiful about that. And that film's got it. Hubert Selby Jr.'s got it. I didn't feel it so much in Black Swan. Bergman's got it. And that's why you shouldn't be afraid of the film. For me, the film gets easier and easier to watch every time I see it, not because the action gets any less horrific. It's because I'm seeing it as a piece of art that is called Requiem for a Dream. And Requiem is the song for the dead.
Okay.
And the sort of the musicality in the very title. Anyway, let's move on.
All right. So what's your next film then?
So my next film, which it's coming to me. Oh God, I forgot. Okay, I'm going to go Stage Door, which is Alfred Hitchcock. Yeah, and look, it's one of Hitchcock's lesser films, and it's a murder mystery, but it's set around a theater, and I'm a huge fan of the sort of the less celebrated works of Alfred Hitchcock.
Oh, hold on. Give me a second.
Yeah, because it's all there.
Hold on, it's a stage door. There's several stage doors. Hold on 1 second. Let me see if I can find the right one. Do you know what year it was? Was it 43? No, that stage door canteen. 39.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go. No, that's not it. Was it 1930? He said it was Hitchcock, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a Hitchcock one that involves a theater, man. And that's the one that I'm going to go for.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the stage. Let me just see. Is it just? Yeah, let's go down. Stage fright. That's it. Stage fright.
Okay.
I knew it had stage in the title. So yeah, stage fright. A struggling actress tries to help a friend prove his innocence when and it's the standard Hitchcock tropes of, somebody is wrongfully accused of something and everything is geared up for them, to get done, even though we know they're innocent. And it's Hitchcock not even slumming it, because I think bad Hitchcock is better than good everybody else. Near enough.
Fair enough.
Yeah, like seriously, Hitchcock gets better and better and better. He really does. And Marlene Dietrich is in it, which is always a lot of fun, because I never see her in enough stuff. Do you know what I mean? She's a good actress. But yeah, no, it's my sister's got this on an Alfred Hitchcock DVD box set, and it's almost like the little one that's the least known film in the box set. You know what I mean? So I made sure it was the first one that I watched. I love it. It's a very good film. You just can't go wrong. You can probably get it on YouTube or various places for nothing. But yeah, Stage Door, that's a good one. I'm going to try and remember the one that I'm trying to remember.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. I'm going to go with... Well, all right, this might be... okay, no, I won't stretch it. Let's just do... this one also fairly obvious in the title, Bullets Over Broadway. I barely remember this film. And people think that it's like Woody Allen's last great film. But it's
not. It's not. Trust me, it's not.
No. I know it's not, because I saw Match Point after. And I love Match Point. I thought it was great.
Oh my god, terrible film.
What? Oh, all right.
Terrible film.
Zach, why did you not like Match Point? All right, so Bullets Over Broadway. I'm lodging my. But let's talk Match Point real quick. What the fuck, Marty? Come on, seriously? Why don't you like Match Point?
God, can I tell you something? I like tennis, but I hate the fact it's so bloody middle class. Look, your listeners, you get sick of it. Class is everything to me. It's bloody everything to me.
Yes.
Why the hell is a sport that's a bat and ball sport? It's a bat and ball sport should be cheap, right? Should be anybody can. So just the minute that we're doing a film about Wimbledon and tennis, we're just getting into class, yeah? And Woody Allen is, his heyday, good about a whole lot of things, but look, he's stuck to a certain social class.
Sure,
and I don't mind.
That's what he knows.
And I don't mind when it's Americans and it's, the socialite, upper Manhattanites and all that kind of stuff, people that I don't know and I'll never meet.
But he brought his brand of bullshit over to Britain, and you're like, fuck that.
Oh, kill them all. I want everybody dead. I just want every single person in the film dead.
Look at Matthew Good. Looks the same, man. And Scarlett, too. I mean, this is like, what, 15 years ago? They look great. Everyone looks great.
Everyone looks great.
Yeah. I mean, I think about Woody Allen. I had this discussion in the Bransky Slack, holler out the Bransky Slackers. We had this in one of our channels about how some of us didn't like some of the people of color did not like or didn't love Sofia Coppola's new movie, the one with Bill Murray as Rashida Jones' father. What was the name of it? It'll come to me. Anyways, they didn't like it. I loved it. I was in for the ride, and they're like, "Yeah, well, there's this whole thing with the traffic stop, and Bill Murray, gets stopped by the cops, and he talks his way out of it. That would have gone totally differently if it was a black man." I'm like, "Yeah, I get it, sure." But I don't go to Sofia Coppola movies expecting to see any kind of real representation of black people in it. I don't go for that. I'm going there for small wit, upper middle class lives, upper class lives, whatever. She has her lane, and I respect it. I mean, and this is one of these type of films where it's not even sort of like it dropped me into a world per se, although it did take me to Britain. I wasn't very exposed to much British stuff back in 2004, but I did appreciate being taken to Britain, taken to the, I guess, the circle of kind of society types who pay people to be tennis coaches. Like, that shit was like totally over my head. And I just thought the plotting was pretty good. Like, everyone there has something to hide. Everyone there is kind of, creepy or have alternative motives, and just some weird shit goes down. And it was just an interesting story, well told. I mean, look, if I went to every, I'm not saying that, you do this per se, but if I went into every piece of entertainment, expecting to see myself, like say The Crown, which you could probably count on one hand how many black people are in that fucking thing. I mean, I will, lose like maybe 75% of the stuff that's actually out there to watch, some of which is actually good. So
you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But I guess
when it comes to Woody Allen, I already go in back burnering, knowing myself, knowing that my experience isn't going to be centered. I just want to see if you can tell me a good story. And I thought Match Point was a good story. That's it.
We disagree.
All right, fair enough. All right, so off Match Point.
Because to be fair, you're absolutely right. If the story and the acting and everything's good, you just put everything else away, don't you? You put all your prejudices, your real life prejudices away. I didn't do that with this one. I just didn't. Not with Match Point. But no, I've got another one. I've got
What's your next film?
Barton Fink.
Oh, and they were trying to put on a play, right? They're trying to finance a play in Barton Fink.
It starts off, Barton Fink has just put on a play on Broadway, and it's opening night, goes down a storm. It's going to get great reviews. So his agent gives him, a meeting and gets, basically says that Capitol Pictures over in Hollywood, they want him. They are looking for the Barton Fink feeling. Not only that, they're going to pay him good money to write a Wallace Beery wrestling pick. And he gets writer's block. I went to see this film. It's one of the few times that I went to the cinema with other people, and there was this woman that I went with, okay? And she was a friend of a friend. And when we came out of the cinema after seeing Barton Fink, I said, "What was that about?" And she nailed it. And I can't remember a word of what she said, except that she nailed it. And if I ever met her again, I just want to know, tell me what you told me those years ago about what Barton Fink was all about. I love it. It's one of my favorite films of all time. I never get sick of watching it. Everybody in it is absolutely amazing. But I love the whole idea that, Barton Fink, he's trying to make a theater for the common man. And so, there's me talking about,
of course, you would.
Yeah, because there's me. I talk about class all the time, and the fact is that he is an arsehole. He is an arsehole, He is John Goodman steals the show as Madman Monk. It's really great. It's one of the, he's an insurance salesman, and he's other things too. I don't want to spoil it, but seriously, Barton Fink is one of the best. I think it's the best Coen Brothers film. There's a good chance it's the best Coen Brothers film.
All right. It's a great selection. And I had to think about it for a second because I only saw it the one time in theaters. We had to go to a specialty theater in Seattle. I was in high school. I went with my art house friend because he was the only one who wanted to see that film with me. Took like 3 buses, got there. It was fine. It was great. All right. So Barton Fink, and my next one. Let's take this one off the board too, because I think, let's do Dead Poet Society, because they do put on a play in that, don't they? Dead Poet Society. I don't remember much about it. I saw it way back when, but he's teaching them Keats and there's a play that goes on in the middle of it somewhere. I don't remember much about it, but there's a play in there, and Robin Williams I think he won the Oscar for this.
He didn't.
He was nominated, and then like a year or two later, then like 5 years later, when
Good Will Hunting, he won for Good Will Hunting.
They thought that was like his makeup Oscar because they thought he should have won it for this. That's right.
I need to watch this one again.
Oh
because
man,
it's a coming of age.
Charles. This is actually
coming of age film, and look at all the young talent and all
Ethan
that.
Hawke, Robert Sean Leonard, Josh Charles. Some nobody names, and then
James Waterston.
Some real talent, and I think isn't Matt Damon in this one too? I mean, like everyone got into this damn film. Everyone became somebody out of this damn film. It's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, so that's a good call. Good. I need to watch it again.
Me too.
Because there's a lot of universal stuff in this. Seize the day, carpe diem, all that kind of. And kind of we need that.
Although
so
boarding
much.
school kids, not middle class.
No, but that's what I mean. It's a very good film with really good writing, so I'm okay with it. Again, I only get drawn to it when there are other flaws.
Right.
You know what I mean? When there's like other flaws, but no, very good film. Good call.
All right. So what's your final film? What you got?
So, do you know? I'm gonna go with right. I had another one in the back of my head which I've forgotten, but I'm gonna go with Nail and I.
With you and I?
With Nail and
Nail.
I.
Okay, with Nail and I. All right.
No, it's one word. With Nail and I.
Oh, okay.
Now you need to see this film. Okay? So the reason I'm going to tell you need to see this film is I would put it in the top 5 British films of the last, that came out in 1987. So in the last 40 years, top 5 British films.
Okay. What makes it a top 5 British film, Marty?
Pardon?
What makes it a top 5 British film? Tell us.
So I'll give you the premise. Those two people are actors. They know each other clearly from like drama school or something like that.
Okay.
The With Nail character on the left-hand side, no, sorry, With Nail is on the right-hand side, played by Richard E. Grant, and he is upper class. He is really upper class, yeah?
Okay.
The I character, played by Paul McGann, is much more sort of working class, ordinary guy, okay?
Sure.
And it's set in the end of the 1960s into the turn of the 70s, so around about 1969, 1970, and they are out-of-work actors who can't get any, struggling to get auditions. They're completely broke, and they're like, you know, they're drinking lighter fluid.
Ugh.
They're struggling. They're struggling, okay?
Yeah.
And the guy on the right, with Nail, decides that desperate measures call for, you know, desperate actions, and they go and visit his Uncle Monty.
Richard E. Grant.
They go and visit Uncle Monty, and they get his keys to a cottage in the countryside where they're going to have a little weekend away. You know, like just get away from the city, get away from London, and just chill out for a while. Okay. Uncle Monty takes a shine to the I character, and so he shows up uninvited and unwanted because he, you know, and let's be honest, Paul McGann is a very beautiful boy, and so it's understandable that the, you know, Uncle Monty would take a shine to him, and it's just one of those films that it's so much more than the sum of its parts. Every scene is perfect. The acting is perfect. It's full of moments that you just, you know, you just want to go back and watch again.
Is it in black? Is it in black and white?
No, it's in color. It's in color.
Okay, just checking. These stills on IMDb for those who are listening.
Yeah. So you can go to YouTube and type in With Nail and I final scene, and it's the With Nail character doing a monologue from Hamlet. And he's doing it. We used to go for walks there. You can go for walks in Regent's Park, and where Regent's Park backs into the British Zoo. And you actually get to see you can actually still walk past this little bit. And at the end, it's absolutely chucking it down with rain. And Paul McGann's character, he's got a part in a play.
Oh.
Yeah, he gets a part. And so it's really a love story between the two men. You know, it's one of those, just, you know, you realize just that there's a really strange bond between them that's really quite beautiful. And at the end, the With Nail character goes for a walk in the pissing rain, and he passes the wolves who are in the zoo, and he recites the speech from Hamlet where he says, "I could find myself imprisoned in a nutshell and consider myself a king of infinite space, but I have bad dreams. All this stale promontory, the earth, and all the rest of it. Man delights me not, no, not woman neither." And it is the most amazing Hamlet speech I've ever seen. I mean, he really nails the Hamlet, yeah? And so that's what kind of gives us a little bit of sort of a beautiful bit of pathos at the end, is that even though the With Nail character is a fucking arse, and he's an arsehole. He really is. He's an arse, right? He's selfish. He's all these things. He is a man that would actually be able to play a fucking great Hamlet.
Because you gotta kind of be a bit of a dick to play Hamlet.
No, I have to be a dick, but he's just got it. No, look, whatever Hamlet's a very hard part to play.
Oh, hell yeah.
You've got to have it. You've just got to have a lot of things for nothing. And he's got that for nothing. You know, there's just certain things that Richard E. Grant has as an actor and the character Withnail has as an actor that would make him perfect for Hamlet. And trust me, I've seen a few Hamlets and they've almost all been terrible.
Fun fact, my audition, one of my audition scenes for grad school, for acting school was Hamlet. Not the To Be or Not to Be. It was like a different speech. So, yeah. I don't remember it, though.
But yeah, watch Withnail and I. It is a classic. I saw it at the cinema a few years ago for the first time in a while, and it had me in bits. I mean, it is literally a laugh-out-loud funny film. You know, the more you see
comedy. Oh, okay. All this entire time it seemed like this weird drama. So it's a comedy.
Of course it's a comedy. Look, see if you're giving if you're giving a setup. If you're giving a fucking setup to a movie, and that movie sounds like pretty sad. If everybody's doing their work properly, including the person describing the film, it should be a comedy. Comedy, look, comedy is not about happiness. Comedy is about sadness. No, people laugh at that. You cannot have comedy without sadness. Comedy is not about a really happy couple who are really in love, who go on a really cool holiday, and on the way back, buy some really nice presents, and everybody loves their presents, and everybody loves the family, and they live happily. That's not comedy, mate. Comedy is when everything goes wrong.
Okay. No, that's true. Fair enough.
There's Something About Mary. What's the most famous scene in There's Something About Mary? Dude gets his bits and bobs caught up in a zipper, and the tagline at the end is, "We've got a bleeder."
Yeah, you made your point. You're good point, Marty. Good point. And I'm bringing this segment in for landing with my last one, and I'm going with the most obvious choice, which I'm surprised stayed on the board this long, which is, of course, The Producers. I mean,
very good.
Yeah, based off the stage play, you know, Nathan Lane, Matthew Broderick. Basically, they're trying to put up, you know, the world's worst play because somehow they think they can get rich by putting up the world's worst play, and to their amazement, it turns out to be good. If I do recall the plot correctly. So The Producers, yeah, you know, I think it was nominated for a bunch of Oscars as well.
That's the remake. The original is by far the best.
Well, I meant the remake. I saw the remake came in my lifetime. The original, I think, was 1967. So I have not seen the original.
Oh, yeah, no, you need to see the You need to see the original.
Okay.
Mel Brooks. It's Mel Brooks.
What, in the original?
Yeah, Mel Brooks wrote the original.
Mel Brooks wrote this one too. He just wanted to get another check. But yeah,
he certainly did, didn't he? Good on him.
You know, right? Get paid twice. Same work, paid twice. So this original one. Oh, interesting. Gene Wilder. Okay.
Yeah.
You have my attention now. You have my attention. All right. That goes on the list. I've been compiling this list since you've been talking, Marty, of all these movies I need to see. I don't know if I'll ever get to all of them, but I am writing them down. I do have good intentions.
So yeah, apologies to the audience. You know, I don't watch TV, but I just watch lots of films.
Well,
I watch lots of films.
Which is great for Cinema Draft podcast, where, you know, ostensibly we are about films, but we are about to now take a quick break with our, hold on, trying to get this together. There it is. All right, so we're going to take a quick break to explain to people who are new to the show how the DraftStream game works, which, you know, there are some movies that we do stream, Marty, so, you know, that we do talk, you know, some movies sometimes, but we're basically going to tell people how the DraftStream game works, how you can get involved, and we will be back right after this. And we're back. All right, so last week's quarantine movie of the week was, and let me share my screen, delightful little film, pretty much entirely fiction at this point. It was The American President. I enjoy this film immensely. It is, I mean, Sorkin's done a lot of great stuff. This is probably early peak Sorkin. Sorkin has several peaks. I think The Social Network, it was just genius. I think this is more like, it doesn't do anything kind of groundbreaking, but it really is like kind of cinematic political comfort food. Michael Douglas plays an American president. He's a widower and he falls for environmental lobbyists during election year. It came out in 1995, 4 years before we saw Martin Sheen, who plays his chief of staff in this movie, become, of course, historically West Wing's Josiah Bartlett, probably the best fictional president we've ever had. So yeah, this was a great movie. We got some good response to it. Thank you for your tweets, everyone. And real quick, Marty, do you have any thoughts on The American President?
I've never seen it.
Oh, now you write that one down, Marty. It will make you.
Is it good? Is it really good?
It's so delightful. It's very.
All right. Okay.
I mean, if you're, especially for how jaded we are with politics in general, especially over the last 20, 30 years, this movie is. I mean, it's not even so much like an anachronism. It's just it's pure fiction. It's a fable. But even back then, there was still more of a pre-social media and honestly, pre-Gingrich really getting his hooks into the political discourse in this country. It really did kind of harken back to a time where a scandal would be like, I don't know, some lobbyist got cheating on his taxes or something. I don't know. So it's a very different, mindset. You'll kind of maybe roll your eyes at the idealism of it all, but that's kind of what makes it great. It kind of harkens back to a time when, people really did take these jobs for good public service civic reasons. So it was what I watched, what I went to during our lengthy election, counting stage, our election week. We had our election day, but it ended up being stretched out into election week. So I sat the draft mom down to watch. She'd never seen it, and it was delightful. It was definitely a nice reprieve from our cynical politics of today.
Nice.
Yeah, and so the movie I'm doing for the quarantine movie of the week this week, and call me old softy, but it's Me Before You. Are you familiar with this movie, Marty?
No.
Oh, so delightful. This movie
looks like it's romantic.
And you don't do romantic? You don't do
yeah. I like my rom. I like a rom-com. No, I like rom and I like com. But
together.
no, but it's got to be done so well. Rom and com. Why do they go together?
Because maybe just like you said, with only from tragedy comes great comedy. Being in love or striving for love is innately a tragic art. And I say this as someone who's been single for the last 6 years. I know from where I speak, going for love sucks. It's hard. It's difficult. So why not make fun of it? Why not? This actually isn't a rom-com. It's actually a romantic drama. Basically, Emilia Clarke, and this is in the midst of her, giant Game of Thrones run. No one took this movie seriously in America, but joke's on you. It went around the world to gross $208 million. Could have gotten 25, 30 million to shoot. $208 million worldwide. I think it only made like 40, 50 million in the United States. So kind of flopped here. But it was so she plays a quirky, English caregiver, goes from job to job, whatever, kind of aimless, finds a young, paralyzed, I think he was in finance, whatever, rich guy. He's in a wheelchair. He's very acerbic, very surly. She's super optimistic, sunny, bright, totally not Daenerys Targaryen. And he's very, pissed off, angry at the world. He's in a wheelchair. He's not feeling great about it. And they both kind of just fall for each other because opposites attract, the whole thing. But it's done so well. Apparently it's based off of like a best-selling book. She's very kind of quirky and a mess. He's all kind of put together and mean, and he's very, very rich. So you definitely probably won't enjoy those parts. But it's very charming, and I swear to God, I cried. I teared up in the theater. I can count on one hand how many times I've actually cried in the theater. That one just dragged it out of me. It's excellent, Marty. It's excellent. She's so good in it too.
Wow.
Emilia Clarke. Yeah, I didn't think she had it in her, honestly. I honestly didn't think she had it in her, and she's great. Sam Claflin, too. I mean, quietly great. I mean, I didn't expect her to win any awards because it definitely flew under the radar in this country, but she was so good in it. After that, I'm like, you know what? I'll watch her just about anything. To wit, I have not yet watched Last Christmas because that looks god awful, but I need to watch it just for Emilia Clarke because I'm sure she probably gives it her all. And she's gorgeous, too. That didn't hurt either. All right. Anyways, Emilia Clarke, Sam Claflin, Me Before You. That is your quarantine movie of the week. Tweet me at Play Cinema Draft your tweet length reviews, or hit us up on Facebook, which is facebook.com/cinema draft. All right, so here's a section. Here's a segment that you may not have much to say about, Marty. So bear with me. We are doing our DraftStream update, and basically, I totally failed. 9th place overall. The usual suspects: Gamble 24x7, the all-time cinema draft and DraftStream money winner to date. Won again, or actually, he tied with Jaybird, our former cinema draft alpha test all-time money winner, but he tied with Jaybird. But due to our tiebreaker of the Metacritic score, Jaybird did prevail. He did it behind a optimal stack that is 2 headliners, 1 co-star, 1 day player, a Valley of Tears, which I am now intensely interested in watching. Looks like about the 6-Day War or the Yom Kippur War, something I know very little about. So I'm intrigued. I like historical fiction, historical dramas, so I'm all over that. He did it with the optimal stack of Valley of Tears, Sophia Loren's comeback film, The Life Ahead on Netflix, as well as, and then now we get back to the kind of the dad core return series. Chicago Fire in its 9th season. Have not seen 1 minute of the one Chicago shows: Chicago Med, Chicago Fire, Chicago PD. You want to talk about someone getting their checks, Marty? Dick Wolf has got the greatest scam running over here in the States. He's pioneered a series of Law and Order, like 5 different Law and Orders. Law and Order is in its it ran for like 27 seasons, something like that. Law and Order Special Victims Unit, a spinoff of Law and Order, just had its season 22 debut.
Ice-T, well, I follow Ice-T, so I know that Ice-T, he's always talking about it, can't believe it. Went in there just to do a few episodes, 20 years later or whatever, still banking the checks. So you can't complain.
Check in entertainment, my boy. It's steady. And so Dick Wolf did the Law and Orders, and then he created a set of other shows, also on NBC, same network over here, owns a totally different night, where it's Chicago Fire, started off with Chicago Med, like doctors in Chicago. Then he branched out to Chicago Fire, and then he branched out to Chicago PD. So he's got
Was Chicago Hope something different?
Chicago, you know what? I think now that failed because that came on when ER was doing well. But Chicago Hope, I thought that was David E. Kelly, wasn't it? And that's kind of flopped, which is weird because David E. Kelly, I'm not sure if you're familiar with his work. That's Ally McBeal. Yeah, that was David E. Kelly. So no, different guy. Right. That was when they were trying to catch the heat of ER. Or actually, no, I'm sorry. They debuted at the same time. ER and Chicago Hope. One lived, one died. I think we know which one lived and which one didn't. the one that had George Clooney lived. Let's put it that way. Yeah. So no, that's the different guy. But he's got Chicago and Wednesdays on NBC on lock with the one Chicago shows they call them. So that guy, yeah, he's probably got to be close to $2 billion worth because that's just money printing forever. Auntie Donna's Big Old House of Fun, I did not see coming. Look at how cheap it was. 8,700 got you 163 points. So well done, G24. The homie winning yet another cinema draft, or another DraftStream contest with Jaybird, who had the exact same call sheet, but due to the tiebreaker, got second place money. $50 to first, $25 to second, $10, another $10 to G24. The homie came in third, 1505. This was an historic week in DraftStream. This average score is just bananas. Easily our highest average score of all time, nearly 10 points above the average. And at the time that this game was running, the average was an 86.68. So nearly 10 points over the average. It was bonkers. Looks like everyone is coming home to the shows they know and love. All these season premieres coming back. Grey's, The Crown. People just want to stay locked down, safe, germ-free, watching what they like. So will we see more of that this week? Well, let's take a look at this week's talent pool. And 25 hot ones, everything from the Fresh Prince reunion, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Are you familiar with the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Marty?
Oh, come on.
Hey, you don't watch TV? I'm just checking. You're over there in Scotland. I'm just checking.
Come on. I mean, look, yeah, I know about the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I didn't watch it religiously when it was on, but it's one of those shows, it's on a lot. You get what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's on a lot.
It's on HBO Max in perpetuity now. The Time Warner companies, and they're running this out. I think what's today, 17th. I think this is coming out on Thursday, on HBO Max. So I'm tuned in, of course. What will be interesting to see is if it gets enough scores. These type of documentary reunion special type shows aren't consistently covered, so we'll see if that'll get all four scores enough to get you the points you need. So also this is going to be a week where everyone kind of gets what they want, because we are only doing hold on, undo that, because salary wise our most expensive title is the film Run. Sarah Paulson, I don't know much about it. It's coming out on Hulu, I think Thursday. But already, as you can see, it's already got a 7.8 from some of the people who've been exposed to it. Maybe it made the festival circuit, I'm not sure. But it looks like it is kind of horror thriller. So me personally, I'm not going to watch it, but it's already off to a good start. So you might want this on your call sheet. I hate Susie, Billie Piper, love her. She's so good. She finally gets another star vehicle. Looks like a female celebrity who has her whole life upended when her phone is hacked. And so she gets phone hacked and her pictures are out. And so basically her whole wholesome image goes to pot. Perfect. I'm in already, and that is coming out on what's that coming out on? That's last week's. That's on HBO Max. 2 for 2 HBO Max. I love it. And His Dark Material season 2 returns. I don't see any mention of James McAvoy, so maybe he's not in this season. But Ruth Wilson, adore her. Daphne Keane coming back with more fantasy goodness. I couldn't actually get out of the pilot. Wasn't for me. Are you familiar with His Dark Materials, that series, Marty?
No.
All right, fair enough. Neither am I, but people apparently adore this series, this adventure series, young adult series. So I'm probably gonna have some exposure to this on my call sheet. As far as value goes, I'm curious about Veneno. I don't know much about it, but another HBO Max show. HBO Max is kind of racking up the hits right now. About a biographical story. I like those. About a transgender icon and TV personality and those who surrounded her. Interesting. You obviously probably didn't see any of the podcasts of this weekend, but I fell in deep love with a show called a movie called Transhood. It also was on HBO, and I watched it on my HBO Max platform. And this just brought me to tears, Marty. I teared up 4 times in the first 20 minutes because the way, they follow 3 different families in 4 families in Kansas City, Missouri, so the heartland of America, right? So it's not like they went to San Francisco or or Seattle or anything. They went to Kansas City, Missouri, Midwestern, conservative, traditional values, whatever. And they follow these kids from the ages of 4, 7, 12, and 15 as they transition into accepting being, transgender. You got this one, you have a young girl who is transitioning into being a boy, but he already has a boy. He already has a girlfriend who doesn't know, and then so once also kind of gets outed, there's a lot of human drama if you're into that type of thing. But I was just tearing up, just damn near ready to bawl my eyes out. How hard their struggles were, and how much these parents loved their kids. Oh my God, I couldn't take it, Marty. It was really it was big. And
look out for that, man. I like a good documentary. Sometimes you need a good documentary in your life.
And this one is definitely going to make you want to cry. It's just how there's an unexpected parental heel turn in the 3rd act, which I did not see coming. Oh man, that was wild. So it has everything. It really does have it all. You see, I gave it a 10.
Nice.
5.5 because America sucks and we politicize everything. So, but I recommend Transhood. Absolutely. So Veneno, I think this is in my wheelhouse. I think I'll have to check it out. I'm not sure how it might do score wise, but 10,000, it's some good value there if you think it's going to score over 100 points. And then the personal history of David Copperfield. I've been kind of sitting on this one for a while. I'm glad to see it's finally out to be streamed. I love Dev Patel. I think he's very charismatic. Who else is in this one? She looks familiar. Oh yeah, Tilda Swinton. She's in everything. Penn Wishaw. What that haircut? Killing me.
2 seconds. That is my guest. I'm going to just get the front door, okay?
Okay, fair enough. And so I'll continue with the breakdown real quick. All Rise in its 2nd season. And this is also kind of, dad core CBS dramas, nothing too flashy or spicy, but I enjoy it. A young judge who used to be a district attorney is on the bench, and she kind of has to go up against her friends from the DA's office and also administer justice in a humane way. And one thing I liked about All Rise is that they did a pandemic episode like way back in like the spring where they filmed it, socially distanced and everything. And I thought they did a really good job of using the pandemic in quarantine lockdown situation in a dramatically satisfying way. So All Rise is the prototypical third monitor film. It's not too, or third monitor series. It's not something you have to pay a ton of attention to, but it's still heartwarming nonetheless. All right. And that's last week's. So those are the ones I'm keeping my eye on. Maybe what might be slightly mispriced is Trollstopia. Nobody asked for this, but it's back. So, I might misprice it only because I think it's kind of annoying they're back so soon with Trollstopia. But this one could be some salary relief right here. So make sure you all check that out. And everybody who is so inclined, make sure you get your call sheets into me by 6 p.m. Pacific time. This Thursday, maximum 3 call sheets per player, and you have a chance to win part of the $100 prize pool.
Whee!
All right, so we're bringing this in for a landing. Thanks, Marty, for hanging in there and battling through the ailments, battling through my classism, battling through my love of the crown, and also just being a great guest as always. Cheers to you. Let's clap it up for Marty.
I've got 2 recommendations.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so this is the time when I say go ahead and plug your ish. So go ahead and plug some ish, Marty.
So there's a woman called Brianna Joy Gray. You need to follow her on Twitter.
Oh, she's an interesting follow.
You know who I'm on about, right? Okay, good.
I'm not sure if I follow her because she's a little even too left for me. But I
oh, come on, she's not.
Not to get. We'll do a quick steer. I know she's a really big Bernie person. But she's also kind of toxic as far as the way she attacks other left people. Now I'm very lefty as well, but also there's some times where it's like. So there's some stuff that I think you should attack, some things I don't think you should. I like where her head's at, though, generally. I think she's...
Yeah, I get you. Because, she was the one that was in charge of Bernie Sanders' campaign. So I think she kind of plays... I know what you're talking... There is a lot of people on the left that go all out and, But I think because I watched her on the Noam Chomsky. She interviewed Noam Chomsky.
Oh.
And Noam Chomsky's somebody that said an awful lot of, fairly challenging things over the years.
Yeah, he's mostly been great, though, so.
And she was kind of trying to get him to say, she was asking him about certain things to do with, let's assume we're all going to vote Joe Biden, but can we talk a little bit more about, other things?
Yeah.
And he kept on coming back to the same answer, which was very unknown Chomsky, but, he's 90 years old. And she kind of handled it with, what I would have been like? I would have been effing and seeing. I would have been, no, get, I understand, Noam, that you've been at the top of your game for all these years, but you're losing your fastball, you're talking pish, and she never did any of that. And so I quite like her. And also, I just wanted to get your thoughts, which I'm sure you like. What's his name? Chappelle's
Saturday Night Live monologue. Yeah, it was okay. It had its moments.
Okay, I really liked it.
Think about the problem with there's no real problem with Chappelle. Chappelle is, everyone thinks he's a genius. He pretty much is. His stuff is pretty good. And for those who are, I'm screen sharing now. Brianna.
Yeah, the Bad Faith podcast is pretty good.
Yeah, Brianna Gray Joy. I always get it. Brianna Joy Gray. BJG. Ooh, say that 5 times fast. BJGs. Yeah, at Bree Joy. BRIE Joy, if you're inclined to follow her. No, I thought it was okay. It had its moments. The thing about Chappelle, as he's gotten older, there's an element, a bit of a get off my lawn type quality to his stuff. And I'm serious. And he's very much like, and a lot of comedians feel unfairly attacked because things that they couldn't say before, that they could say before, they can't say now, and some people have a hard time adjusting. I see a little bit of that in his work, but he always does have some insightful political commentary when he does do his thing, and I thought he had some good stuff there. I don't think it was his best stuff by far, So
no. I thought it was timely.
Yeah. I honestly, I think when he was last on Saturday Night Live, the weekend after Trump got elected, I thought that shit was brilliant. That monologue was brilliant. That was incredible. So if you want to see a good, political set of Dave Chappelle, go watch his 2016, shortly after appearance on Saturday Night Live, when he did that monologue. The entire country needed his monologue, and that was a really good one at that time.
Nice.
All right, good. All right, well, you've got a guest. We've talked for hours. Always a good time. Yay, Scotland!
Yeah,
yay! Looking for the
fucking cage. Keep it in its cage, man. Keep it in its fucking cage. Yeah. Keep America in its fucking cage.
America's back in the cage. Free the
No, I love America. You know I love America. And shout out to your mother.
Yes. All right. Shout out to Scotland. Love you, Scotland. Yeah. Be there in a couple of years. Great. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for playing. And we will see you guys next week with another great guest, another great top 5. Thanks, everybody.
All right, dude.